Welcome, friends. It's almost midnight, and you've found your way to the PikeCast. We've covered so many of the books of the most formative writer of our young adult days, Christopher Pike. But there's a new show in town. From the creator of The Haunting of Hill House and Midnight Mass comes the Netflix adaptation of The Midnight Club. For 10 weeks, we'll tackle one episode per podcast in a freewheeling and unbiased chat. So turn down the lights, pop some popcorn, and pull a blanket over you. And ready yourself for the PikeCast, The Midnight Club. Greetings, fellow Pikers, and welcome to the PikeCast, The Midnight Club. I'm Cooper Beckett, and I'm thrilled to be joined by my lovely co-hosts.
Hi, I'm Cassie.
Hi, I'm Becca.
We've switched formats to cover Mike Flanagan's 10-episode adaptation of The Midnight Club. And this week, we're closing down this chapter of the PikeCast as we delve into the final episode of The Midnight Club, Midnight. We're going to be going through the entire episode as well as talking about future plans that will not come to fruition since Netflix canceled the show. If you're enjoying the PikeCast, please leave us a review on the podcast service of your choice. Welcome back, ladies. I know we've been a little shaky the last few weeks, but we're back. We're back to finish this thing. How are you doing?
I'm doing.
Yeah, I am alive.
Yeah, I'm kicking it.
I have a pulse, so there's that.
We are all currently alive.
Yes.
And that may be the best we can say at the moment. But let's delve into this episode. So we left last week on an annoying cliffhanger where we had Heather Langenkamp with a fire poker doing nothing, unfortunately. But this week we start in the past, where a young Julia Jane sneaks out of the hospice and gets picked up on the road and goes to see Regina Ballard, who is a Seso, correct?
Mm-hmm.
My notes are scattered here. And this is an actress in old age makeup. I was not crazy about the old age makeup here. Nothing? Okay.
No, I mean, she just looked like old and saggy a bit, so I thought it was, I
didn't really think anything of it.
No,
Okay,
I was just like, yep, she's old. That makes sense because she was younger before and she's
That's
aged.
true.
It does happen. It happens.
It's just me. That's fine. I don't mind that.
Damn that gravity.
Yeah. Is that really how that happens?
Yeah.
Well, it's your face. Yeah, your face starts to sag and then it no longer has the elasticity. When you were younger, your skin has more elasticity, so it can like hold itself up and it's like, closer to the top. Plus your skin regenerates a lot faster as you're younger, so the layers of skin are constantly newer. But as you get older, that doesn't happen as much. Your skin cell production slows down a lot, so you have to use like retinoids and things so that you can continue to produce a lot of clear, fresh skin, or else your skin will be very dull and textured. And
So if you say that you lived on another planet, right, that had no gravity, would you be living the best life?
I think that depending on how close it was to the sun, because sun damage is probably the key factor in how your skin looks as you age, it could either be better or worse. Like if you were in constant shade and you had no gravity, I'm sure you'd be looking pretty tight, up in the face area and everywhere else. But if you were close to the sun, you'd probably looking pretty roasted, like pretty quickly. So yeah, regardless of the gravity situation.
Makes sense.
Well, there's also the question of what no gravity actually does on the rest of your body, too.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of debate on how dangerous being in zero gravity is for a long period of time.
Look, I'm not talking about bones and stuff, Cooper. I'm talking about the flesh.
So specifically, we're talking about you'll look good. Yes. And that's what matters.
Right.
Right?
I'm trying to look young for the rest of my life.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's fair.
I knew what Becca was going for. I got you.
Hey, that's fine. I get it.
Really though, if you're on this planet, then retinol. That's the way to go. And moisturizing and sunscreen. Yeah. Please God, use sunscreen. Everybody use sunscreen. Leave this in, Cooper. Everybody use sunscreen. Every day, even if it's shady outside, use your sunscreen.
Wow. Okay.
Especially when it's shady outside.
Yes. And the peak
my
hours,
solution is just don't leave the house.
That's true, but you know what? Surprisingly, the light from your windows actually does contribute to your skin factor or your skin damage. And there have been studies that sometimes think, although there are debates as well, and so they're still doing more studies, but the light from your computer and your phone screens and stuff like that, it does have UV rays, so it could be contributing as well to the UV ray damage that's on your face. So it's better to spend less time at your screen.
Okay.
And outdoors, or unless you're wearing sunscreen. That's why even if you're inside, you should be wearing sunscreen. I'm telling you, wear sunscreen every day.
Dear God.
Yeah.
That was our lesson of the podcast.
All right. Well, now we've moved beyond the sunscreen PSA here. Let's go back to episode 10, Midnight. The Hourglass book is there, and it was Assesso's, right? No, it was. I don't know what was happening here, honestly.
I think it was her book, but then she left it behind because like they got like chased out, right? And then her daughter.
Yes. Okay.
Ended up like
it was her daughter's book.
Yeah, it was just like it was left in there though. Like I don't think she intended for the girl to find it or anything.
Right. And then she says she found the book in the basement, and Assesso says, I think their ideas of sick and well are backward. Julia Jane wants to live and knows Ballard can help. Ballard sees the opportunity to train Julia Jane and calls her Bright Girl. Oh, I get it. And says, healing depends on what you are willing to do. She will stay with Ballard a week, then will walk in a nightgown, muddy, and just say she was in the woods and she is cured. I did not like this flashback. I didn't think it was necessary in any way.
What? But then they tell you get to see what happened to the girl when she was gone for that missing week.
Yeah, do we need to see it?
Yeah, I don't think I cared.
Well, I mean, to be fair, we'd already heard like two different story renditions of it, like a made up one from the girl, and then like what she had like read that was only like partially true.
Yeah.
So I feel like they're like, okay, we've told you enough stories. Let's actually show you what happened. So I liked it. I don't know. I guess it's just me.
Well, I mean, it.
Plus, it was vibey. Like she's out there walking on the street. There's like music playing, and then like she gets into a car, and I'm just like, whoa, we're back in time. How cool.
It could have been more vibey though.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
At this point, though, I feel like we know enough about Julia Jane and Shasta, and we know a lot of stuff, and we're at the last episode. We don't need to spend the time on this, I don't think. Anyway. Now we get back to the confrontation, the big confrontation between Shasta and Stanton. And it really doesn't even happen.
Very underwhelming.
It was, I mean, maybe that's why they had to put the flashback in there, so you wouldn't be really disappointed by that confrontation after the cliffhanger. We just get Shasta's leaving in the elevator and looking down with a weird smile, and yeah, that's great.
That smile was really creepy, though.
It was. That was very, very much her part
on her forehead.
What?
She had thumbprints on her forehead while she was doing it, so she just looked so creepy. She got into the finger paints again. It
felt a lot like her performance toward the end of Midnight Mass, I thought. Yeah. She is very good. I want to make that. I want to say that Samantha Sloyan is still doing a wonderful job here, even if I don't like the character. And we find out all three of the poisoned women are going to live. So, not a whole lot happened then, right?
No.
We find out there's a stairwell to the basement, and it's not even really a revelation here. She just says there's a stairwell to the basement. And then Stanton let Julia Jane / Shasta go so she could save the others. So I guess Stanton is a good person after all. Here, my entire assumption about evil Heather Langenkamp seems to come to a close here, despite the cliffhanger ending, but seems to come to a close here. She is just a good doctor. Well, damn it. So I'm not sure why Ilonka is so. I mean, so I guess the whole point is that Shasta was using Ilonka because she has cancer again. And Stanton says the time comes around for everyone, and I like that. Though it's still a fucked up thing to say to someone who's dying of cancer. You two are not saying a lot this episode.
I mean, the parts you're recapping, not much happened. Like, it is like, yes, that is what happened. Correct.
I know.
It was pretty straightforward through that.
This episode gives us more of petulant Ilonka, who's, I'm not stupid. I shouldn't have believed this. This is, it's like, okay, you were taken in by a charismatic woman who said she could cure you. And we all knew that it was a stupid thing. And Heather Langenkamp's been telling you not to believe this the entire season. But she said it doesn't matter how smart you are. We're all susceptible. And the ideas are like cancer because they eat away, which is, again, a fucked up thing to say to someone with cancer. Ilonka doesn't want Stanton to tell the others, but Stanton says she should. I don't know why the others need to know any of this. They don't really believe in the ritual anyway. So who cares?
Maybe she's just worried that like part of them does, so they're going to like reproduce it or something if they don't.
Maybe.
She's just like covering all her bases. She's like, I didn't expect one teen to be this fucking stupid. Now I've got a group of them. Hell no. Let's just make sure. You march your ass out there and tell them this is all bullshit.
Yeah. Tell them that science is the only true way. So, Ilonka decides she's going to leave with her stepfather on Family Day because if she can't have this miracle cure, she is not going to hang out with her friends anymore. And again, continues to make the worst decisions she possibly could. Thankfully, we move on to a better story. Where, with Natsuki and Amesh, and it's a sad story, but it's a better story. So Natsuki sees Amesh having motor skills issues. He's trying to pick up a pencil, right?
For sure.
He can't see well out of his left eye and has a blind spot there. And he says it doesn't take too long after the vision starts to go. And he sees the shadow in the corner of his eyes. This is a very good performance here.
Yeah, he's really good in general. Like, I just love like all of his parts. He's like one of the standout ones. Him and Ruth Codd.
Yeah,
for sure.
They really, and he wasn't always given the most showy stuff to do. It was a little downplayed. So when you see something like that, you see Chris go to his emotional place, and it's
turn into Batman. Yeah. But like the PlayStation monologue, that made that.
No, that's true. Yeah, he really did very well. I mean, throughout the series,
underutilized.
Yes.
That's a good vocab word.
So,
thank you very much. I tip my hat to you.
Natsuki says fuck. Amesh says yeah. They cry. This was a beautiful scene.
Yeah, that was really good. I really like them. They're so sweet.
And really reinforces, if we got a second season, even without reading the second season notes, how quickly Amesh would have died.
Yeah, which sucks.
So Sandra is leaving. People are saying goodbye. Spence apparently loves her now. He got over the religious shit very quickly.
Her the whole time. You can get mad at your friends even when you love them.
Yeah, because it was never about like her not agreeing with him and who he was. It was just like her trying to show what she believed her faith to be, which I think he understood, even though he was struggling with it, because when his mother did that exact same thing, showed him what her faith was, it was very different from what Sandra showed him. And I think he recognizes that. So I do think he really does. Like, yeah, like Becca says, like you can disagree on, I mean, look, me personally, I don't have a lot of people in my life that I disagree with on certain things, you know, just politically and stuff, but like other things like that, like I'm not gonna, you know, okay, we don't agree on like religion, but you're not hurting me with your belief, and I understand that.
Right.
So, yeah.
And I think he understood that, like, even though it seemed kind of pushy, because it was, like, he understood that she was trying to be a good friend. And that was her way of showing that she was trying to be a good friend, you know?
Yeah, but if she was, like, leaving with, like, a red hat on and suddenly and was just, like, you know, like, doing some weird questionable stuff, and then he hugged her and was like, love you, I'd be like, this is...
Right.
Oh, that kind of red hat.
Yeah, no, right.
Oh,
so there's certain, like, I feel like that would seem strange to me, but this is just like, okay, like, they are good friends, like, at a base, even despite the belief difference system. Like, it's a difference in beliefs, but they're not the kind of beliefs I think that they should not be friends over, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
For me personally, that's how I viewed it.
Like, she could have been a lot shittier about it, like some people are.
Yeah. Like his mother was.
Yeah, sure, exactly.
Amesh wants to look at her one good look.
Oh, this part was sad.
It was.
It made me
and
cry.
Sandra says, you're going to see me again. We get a look from Natsuki. Although I don't know when they're going to see Sandra again. Do you think she's going to come up and visit often?
I hope
Maybe she intends to. I feel like she probably thinks that she will.
She probably
might
thinks
even
she
at
will.
first.
I don't know that she will.
No, I feel like it'd be one of those things where it's just like, oh, I'll come back for like a couple of family days, and then my whole actual life out here that I am moving on with is now taking over, and I don't have time to like. Plus, like they're probably not gonna. No offense, but they're not gonna be around for like very long. So
well, they're not. Yeah, and you probably don't want to keep seeing the one person that's going to survive.
Yeah.
As shitty as that is, it's like, okay, you won the lottery. Go spend your money. You're clearly not giving any to us.
Yeah, I feel like as happy as they are for her, there is that little bit of like humanness that's just like, fuck, I wish that was me. Like, I wish I were better. So
yeah. So Ilonka comes up. Sandra apologizes and says, I don't want to go, which I can't hear in a show without thinking of David Tennant in The Rain. The car leaves. My note is it would mean more if we cared more.
Can I okay, so I've seen that scene like 3 times now. Every time I watch that, I'm just like, the car's gonna explode right now. Like, it just, the way it's framed and the way it looks is so like, I'm just waiting for something big.
It's ominous. And
it is.
In a way that really they're not earning. It's just ominous.
It's especially because some of the goodbyes were so lighthearted, and then you just have this like long look through the back, like she's a small child leaving her mother, and I'm just like, girl, what are you doing? That was a funny scene to me. I liked it.
It's a little much.
Yeah.
Kevin wants to talk to Ilonka, but she just goes in to pack because she didn't pack before this. Cherie plays cello. Mark brings boxes to her and offers other things because, again, the family day isn't going to happen for her. But Cherie wants to join because her family is already here, which is nice.
She's a sweetie girl. Loves her.
Here's where the mega happy stuff starts happening. Amesh's parents can immigrate in a few weeks. He's thrilled. Yeah, that would be great if he wasn't really close to death here. But Natsuki's mom says you're right. He's cute when he smiles. Spence wants Cherie to teach him the cello. Okay. Spence's mom and dad come. Here's another mega happy thing. Mom hugs him. Mark gives a smile. Cherie jokes that they're engaged, which is pretty cute.
That was funny, yeah.
I'm glad she was there because that in general, his storyline and his parents are so uninteresting to me.
I wouldn't say
which sucks because he is one of the queer characters.
Yeah. I don't want to say it's not like relatable to some people and stuff like that. It's just like watching this portrayal of it it feels like something I've seen a lot before that's not adding anything to this for me personally.
I'm quite a fan.
That's fine, and that's good. I'm glad. I'm glad for everybody that does, and to the actor, if he happens to listen to this, you keep on doing you, and I'm so happy that you were in the show. It's great. Yeah. It's just the parts of the story and the whole show. Like it's 10 episodes. There are going to be little parts that I'm not as excited about. So,
I mean, there were whole episodes that I wasn't excited about. So. Okay, now Ilonka is packing up, and Rhett is there.
Oh, I like this scene. I remembered it from the book, and when this started happening, I'd been waiting for it all season from the, and I was just like, are they going to do the thing with the thing and the statue and the thing? What are you doing?
That was from the book?
It is in the book, yeah, where the statue gets fixed and when they find it, yeah.
So Rhett came So Rhett says he came for Anya's things. But the only reason he knows about it is he saw her obituary. How is he coming for her things? Why does he get her things?
I don't think she has family anymore, right?
Yeah, but why would Rhett assume that he gets her things?
He's a white dude.
Oh. Even though he is going to get things from Ilonka, it just seems very odd that
maybe he worked it out with Stanton. Maybe Stanton had some sort of communication with him, like after, like maybe he called after he saw the obituary and was just like, "Hey, like I read this and it says my friend who I used to know," and she's like, "Oh, Rhett, I know you. She used to mention you all the time. Like, please,
you can have all her things."
Yeah, like I'm sure she'd love for you to have it, which. Fair. The only alternative is the dumpster. Nobody wants to do that.
Or all her friends at the hospice.
But they're going to die too, and then she's left with extra things. Stanton's trying to think ahead.
So Stanton is trying to do the Marie Kondo.
She is Marie Kondoing the shit in advance. Yeah, she's like, you die, your stuff goes. No, we're not dispersing this because that's more junk in my house. Have you seen my house? It's huge and it's filled with shit. So I need you to take your stuff when you go, and if you don't, I'm going to call your next of kin, or even if that's just a random friend you had 30 fucking years ago, and I'm going to have him come pick your shit up. That's how it works. I'm sure there was a disclosure agreement or something they signed at the beginning when they first got there. Yeah, stating
it's
exactly
part of their
that.
Death plan.
Yes, verbatim. Get your shit out of here.
Get your shit out.
Yep, it's the get your shit clause.
I don't start thinking of that.
And just a note, now that Marie Kondo has had children, she has decided no longer to declutter.
Oh, really?
She's decided her children now spark joy, which good for her.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Cute.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
It makes me feel less bad.
So many people are mad about it, though, and it's so bizarre to me because I'm just like, she never forced you to do anything.
Yeah, I know. It's not like she got on the, it's just
And a bunch of people are like, whoa, wow, I had 3 kids when she was telling me to do this. Look, she did not personally come to your home and say, hey, girl, get in line, put your shit away and fold your shirts. Like, she's just doing her own life. And now when that no longer works for her, she's doing a different life. And people are so upset. It's so bizarre. It's so strange.
I can't with people.
It's so weird. Anyway, so I fully support Stanton doing her Marie Kondo in the house with.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah. Ilonka wrote her obituary. That was sweet. And Rhett said whoever wrote this really knew her, which was also sweet. I really miss Ruth Codd on this show.
Me too.
Yeah. Ilonka gives him a box of things. Rhett is impressed. She fixed the statue of the ballerina. But it doesn't look like it was repaired. Ilonka knows the truth. It wasn't repaired. It was repaired from the afterlife. It's proof. That was the point of the book, right?
Well, yes. And so in the book, I remember specifically that I
don't remember the book very well, but it was the point of like the club.
Yeah.
No, I mean, that was the point of this moment in the book.
Oh,
It was so
sorry.
that she can show, yeah, it was so that she can show some sort of sign. But I remember not liking, because I remember thinking, like, does that, like, because they made it in the book seem like, oh, she's whole now, like, because she died and now she's back to normal and or whatever. But I was like upset by that, because I was just, remember, because it was like how, like, she was whole before, like she just had like this thing, you know, like
Right.
it's, so I was upset by that, how it came off to me in the book. I will say the way that they did it here in the show was more as if it was like specifically a communication, like to tell them, to show them in a way that like she really could, that was very significant
Right.
to who she was. So I thought that was something I appreciated so much, that not only they included it, but that they did it a little bit differently, that made me, or even if it was exactly the same, I viewed it differently. Like the way I took it from this was not like, oh, she's whole now because she's got her leg. Like it was like, no, she's just giving a sign to her friends with this very personal thing that was specific to her. Like, I don't know. I really liked it.
No, there was a really good moment.
Also, Ilonka's face. I know you don't like her as an actress, but like her face when she was doing that, and she was I see that, she was so good there, and I was just like, oh, she knows what it means.
Honestly, she's better in this episode than in most of them.
That's right. I think a lot of them are so young that they just don't have a lot of experience.
Yeah, and because of that, they often overplay their hand, and she is not doing that in this episode as much.
Can we? Sorry, I didn't even say I meant to though. When she says goodbye, her name's not Mabel. What is her name?
Sandra.
I'm sorry. I don't know where I got Mabel from, like Animal Crossing or something. I don't know. That was bizarre. I'm so sorry. Sandra, because in my head, Sandra's like a very round sort of name, like, and so is Mabel. So I think that's why I confused them. Anyways.
Oh, right.
Sandra,
yes. You're round. Yes. Okay. Go on.
Very round. So when she was saying goodbye or whatever, and he did the Batman voice again during that part, and I was crying, because it was, when I see other people crying, I start crying, especially if I'm close to a specific part of the month that makes me cry more. So even if I'm not sad, like, or emotionally affected, I see them crying, and if it close-ups on their face, I'm sobbing. It's so annoying. And so I was watching it, and because Sandra was crying during this part right before the episode we're recording, I was like, Rich, I need napkins. I'm crying. And then I saw he comes up and he's like, I love you, weirdo. And I fucking started laughing. I almost choked, dude. Like, his Batman delivery saying goodbye to her was so funny. And I meant to mention that when we were talking about it, but I forgot. So I'm sorry if you have to edit this back, but I love him because he makes me laugh so much. I wish they put him in like a teen rom-com, you know, like that type of movie. Cause I really think he would shine like High School Musical, you know, like one of those, like that vibe. Oh, he would be so good. So good. I'm not saying he's not good in here. You know, he's fine.
No, I get it.
I just feel terrible thinking, like, on the off chance any of these people listen to, like, these teens or whatever, like, they listen, they're just like, oh, my first job, can't wait to hear what this podcast says. And then we're just like, ha ha ha, he's Batman. Like, I don't want it to be like that. Like, I just want it to to be clear. Like,
meanwhile, I'm just over here like, I hate Ilonka.
I know, that's why I also soften it every time you mention that. I'm just like, I feel so bad because I get why she acts this way and like why. Yeah, but we're all entitled to our opinions. I just want to soften it.
I also just hate the character.
Yeah, and that's totally fair, because in the book I fucking could not stand that girl.
Yeah. To be clear, it's the character.
Yes.
And, you know, the actor who playing Spence, you know, he would be much better in something less dramatic.
Yeah, or if like the drama was supposed to be for comedic effect, because that's what it has for me. Like
Amesh's.
He's not even that, like, he's funny, but it's like funny in a relatable, like, haha, that's my friend and he's dying, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Spence is just like, oh god, he's being serious, but I'm about to fucking crack up. This is not appropriate casting. Calm your shit. Like, I am like, and then the more you tell yourself to not laugh, the more you start to laugh.
Oh,
like,
yeah, that's not, yeah.
I would be like that around him all the time if he was doing just serious time. So, yeah. Ooh, him and Amesh in like a little rom-com movie? I would watch the heck out of it. Please, Mike Flanagan, swing to rom-coms and bring all these characters.
No, Mike Flanagan's making the Dark Tower.
No, look, he can still do that. I'm just saying, like, as a little downtime when he needs a little break during the summer and he goes to the beach and he's like, haha, rom-com territory, let's go. The rom-com can have a dark twist.
I don't know if you're allowed to take a break when you're making the Dark Tower.
I'm pretty sure Stephen King did.
That's like the rule of the Dark Tower.
You're right. He took a very long break. Excellent point by Cassie. Excellent point.
Oh, we're a mess.
So Ilonka goes down to the common room sees everyone together and has one of those. It feels like graduation day, weirdly, in this, even though, only one person's going somewhere. And Ilonka's, skedaddling without really telling people. Then she goes back up, and Tim, the stepdad, shows up. Bootleg Hopper.
Yes.
He's not bootleg Hopper.
No, that's why I said budget, because he's like Walmart Great Value brand. Like, it's the same stuff, but the packaging just looks a little bit different.
Yeah, right. Okay. That's great.
It's not even an insult. It's literally just
I love that. It's the same
different.
stuff. The packaging just looks a little different.
Just slightly, too. Like, it's only a little.
Yeah.
The vibes are there. The flavor is there.
I don't even know how to deal with that.
I'm sorry. I derailed us again.
So they talk about Ilonka's pre-need, and it's clear Tim doesn't want to deal with this. Ilonka reads a poem, Epitaph, by Merritt Malloy. And it's a really lovely poem. And it would make a good reading at a funeral. The end of it, love doesn't die, people do. So when that's all that's left of me, when all that's left of me is love, give me away. It is very nice. I didn't know if it was written specifically for the show. I didn't know who Merritt Malloy was, so I was happy to look that up and find more by them. We go to the cliffside where Kevin sits in the position that he sat in the visions in the beginning that never, ever meant anything.
Well, they do when we read the thing after. That was supposed to come in season 2.
Oh, yeah, I know.
But no, as far as this season's concerned, no, you're right.
Catherine comes out and Kevin thinks we need to talk, which has never been used for anything other than beginning a breakup.
No.
I think the next time I am with somebody, I'm gonna be like, I need to talk to you, and then I'm gonna say something totally not about breaking up.
That's the worst thing ever you could do.
No, but
that's like when my mother leaves me a voicemail that says, I need to talk to you, and doesn't say what it is.
But maybe we should start normalizing that it's okay to say that. That's not always.
Or we could just start telling people not to say that ever.
That's true. But I'm just looking for a good time, Cooper.
I'm just saying, in the time it takes to say we need to talk or I need to talk about you, you could just quickly add a couple more words and just be like, I need to talk to you about this. We need to talk about this. Like, instead, when I hear I need to talk or we need to talk, I'm like, what's the worst possible fucking thing we can talk about? That must be it. Like, it must.
What did I do? It takes me back, with my mother, it takes me back to childhood, wondering what I did that she found out about, and I'm going to get in trouble. And I'm 43 years old.
Were you bad to the bone?
I don't like it.
Poor Cooper.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Well, so
I guess I won't be pranking anyone with that then.
I mean, you can. Just don't prank me with that.
Okay.
Just please. No one prank me with that. I've had enough.
We need to talk. And then ... I love you. Like everything. I want to make it sweet, you know?
I mean, that would be really sweet.
See?
But I think part of it, though, is not just the saying it. It's just the fact that then you have to usually wait to figure out what it is. So there's all that buildup. That's the part that upsets me, because I'm just like, you could have fucking said it, dude. You know I'm going to stress over this. You know what you did. You made me feel this way, and you know it.
Let me put it a different way, Becca.
Okay, but I just want to add that my ... would be very quick, so you don't have to think about it.
Oh, okay. That's fine.
That's good.
I was going to say, picture it as a voicemail from your doctor saying, we have your test results. We want to talk to you about them.
I've had that happen.
Yeah. And picture that on a Friday evening.
Yes, and they're not going to be, and also it's a holiday weekend, so Monday they're closed.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, my ... is very short. It's like, it's like, are you ready? We need to talk. ... Love you.
Okay. I mean, if you do we need to talk really seriously then, and then get to the I love you within 10 seconds, you're fine.
I would
that's
never leave anyone hanging like that.
You can also do it in a good way. Like if it's just like, okay, I genuinely don't have a lot of time right now, so it's just like, hey Becca, I need to talk to you. It's not a really bad thing or anything like that. It's just something quick, or it's something that's going to take a little bit longer than I have right now. Period. Like that way, it's just like, so you can alleviate somebody's stress at the same time, like, but while also conveying like, I need dedicated time from you so that we can discuss something. But it's not. So
listeners, what we're saying is when you text or voicemail someone with a "we need to talk" kind of preamble, just give us a hint of the mood.
Yes.
Or be like me and in 3 seconds say the nice thing you're going to say.
Or be like Becca.
Yes.
Really, those are the two options for you.
Yes. Can we just take a second to also appreciate how not only have we given skincare advice this episode, but we're also giving communication and friendship relationship advice. Like, what a stunning team of individuals. We are going above and beyond.
I feel like we're very close to the PBS thing there. Like, where else can you find this type of quality programming?
Yes, other than the PikeCast. We've got teens doing drugs and like shooting guns down the road, but also wear sunscreen. And also make sure not to leave your friends on edge when you're telling them you have to talk about things.
Exactly.
Just the important stuff.
So we have this lovely little scene here. Ilonka says, he says Ilonka was wrong to say what she did, but that doesn't mean it's not right, which is true. And there's a really nice shot of them over the water.
It looks like a postcard. It looks like a movie. It looks like there should be like one of those like welcome to, postcard like fonts over
the Pacific Northwest. Really, that's
so cute.
That's where we're welcoming to is the Pacific Northwest is gorgeous.
But it distinctly looks like a hospice picture or something like come here to die, like look forward towards the light, like
here to die.
Yeah, well, that's what
you're right.
If the place advertised it like that way and I were dying, I would want to go there because I'd be like, you're just no bullshit. That's what I want at the end of my life. I don't have time for bullshit. I've only got a few months left. Like, I'm coming here to die. Give me a big TV, some snacks, like a great time for me.
Yeah.
For me specifically, just not speaking for anybody else, because I'm sure other people actually going through these things are taking it a little bit more seriously than me lightly joking about it would be.
I don't know. TV and snacks, I really...
Look, I didn't want to say it, but honestly, that is probably what I want. Like, nobody bother me. Give me a bunch of books and give me snacks and, like, a TV. Like, that's really how I want to go out. Like, I don't need, like, a trip to Disney. Although a trip to Disney would be nice if it were possible. I'm not discounting it. If it were discounted too, that would be even better because it's expensive. And
it is very expensive. Back to this.
Sorry.
It is 12:24 a.m. Ilonka isn't coming to the nightclub.
You get confused still.
Dude, I looked at my clock and I was like, it's 11:21 a.m. It is. I was like, first of all, you're a few minutes too different, but also an hour. I'm sorry, Cooper. Okay. Yes. Ilonka.
Amesh doesn't like the empty chairs, and ominously, there'll be more soon. Yes, there will be more soon. But there'll be new faces too. So we're talking about the turnover of the world. We're philosophically talking. Kevin starts the meeting, and we're back to Dusty. The voices want Sheila, and he hurts them all in the end. Kevin's feeling a little sorry for himself at this moment, because he broke up with his girlfriend. Ilonka gets in, though, just in time for the exciting conclusion. And remember, Kevin said he doesn't like to end anything. So he's going to end. I was wondering if we were actually going to get the end to this story. Dusty calls Sheila, tells her he needs her to come over. I think I know what happened to Nancy. It's so dramatic. Sheila arrives. She lets herself in. She looks at the pictures. In the photo of the grandparents, she sees the symbols. Okay, so here's what we're doing instead of Nazis. We were waiting to find out what is this show doing instead of the Nazi connection. And it's serial killer lineage instead. Dusty startles her. He called because of the symbol on Grandpa's chest that you just noticed. That's why I called you, Sheila. That thing you just saw is why I called you. So Kevin shows Dusty. That's incorrect. Dusty shows.
It's like the Spider-Man pointing at each other.
Yeah, right. Dusty shows Sheila the chat with Nancy on, it was Einstein, wasn't it? Their fake platform.
Yeah.
Einstein. She asks who the killer is. My grandfather.
Dun, dun,
my
dun.
mother.
Dun, dun, dun.
And me.
And then listen, when his mother comes into the room, best scene ever, okay?
When she crawls on the ceiling?
That was so great to me. I was like, oh my god, okay.
Honestly, that made me wish that was how she was telling him to kill people.
I would have loved it. It would have been so entertaining to me.
I was still waiting for the roaches. I just wanted her to be a giant roach on the ceiling.
I'm about to say, she crawled in the wall like a roach.
I know, it's so true, but I just Can you just imagine if they put a CG, like, a giant roach suddenly in there, and still a roach standing up, grabbing Dusty by his arms, pinning him backwards. Missed opportunity is all I'm gonna say. That's it could have been so much funnier.
Sure. You are obsessed with that roach thing.
It was such a weird part of the book. Like, why else did not only is the mom chewing his ear, but the mom is like a roach and chewing his ear with evil Nazi thoughts. Like, I can't. It's just
that was a weird fucking book.
I know, and that's saying something, because some of those books, I love Christopher Pike. Bless his brain for these.
Sheila hits Mom with the hammer.
Oh my god, I forgot to mention how silly it was. Sorry that I'm going backwards, but when he tries to like hold the hammer, like to hit Sheila, and he just like freezes.
Oh yes,
it's like so tacky.
Oh my god, it was like one of those like K-dramas where like it freezes and the camera pans around. Yeah, I literally was like, oh my god, this is like the Matrix. What's going on? I liked it though. See, I had an opposite reaction. I was like, fuck yes.
I was like, what the fuck?
Becca was taken completely out. My face was like zoomed to the screen like, whoa.
I had to wait for the mom to crawl on the wall for me to get back in.
Well, I mean, and that is a way to get you back in.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So now Sheila can see everyone, all the dead people, for some reason.
Magic.
Okay. And they all ascend to heaven.
This scene of them ascending to heaven, the ones in the front still look so fucking angry and like disgruntled, and then the ones behind literally like looking up, like it was the funniest thing. I know it wasn't supposed to be funny, but I was just laughing, dude. It was so good. I loved it. Cooper, did you like it?
I don't know.
It was giving me Yell Float 2 vibes.
Yes! It was just so funny. Yeah. Oh, man. I thought we were going to, like, pan up and see some creepy shit in the sky, you know, like, or, like, pan out of the house and, like, 13 ghosts, see all of the ghosts, like, returning to the woods.
No, it was going to suddenly give us the end of Revival, and the ants were going to be in the sky.
I've never read it.
Revival?
No!
Oh. Revival has
so bad when you make
Stephen King's most terrifying ending.
No.
Is it like legit scary?
Like and it just stops too. Like you get to the end and it drops this huge revelation on you, and then it's done.
Okay.
And then you have to sit there with that.
Okay, but speaking of Stephen King, did you guys read Elevation? And then people floating up because that's what this was like.
I think I have. Is that the one that's like a novella or whatever?
Yes.
Yeah, the guy starts...
I'm just going to say I hated it. Yeah. I hate that book, but it's just speaking of him and people floating. That's what this was like.
Well, I will say Revival is one of King's best later works.
Is that one like a companion? Like, does it go with something else or is it standalone?
No, it's standalone.
Oh, for some reason I thought that, I think I have it, but for some reason I thought that was with something else.
No, it's like fully standalone. I think there's no connections to anything else.
Is it one of the fatter boys?
No, it's pretty short, maybe 400 pages.
Oh, that's not bad.
King.
Yeah.
I mean, that is short.
No, yeah. Huh.
Yeah, I recommend it highly. But that ending fucked me up. And Ants in the Sky does not tell you anything. Trust me.
When you say ants, are you saying it like ant, like uncle and aunt, or like a creature ant?
No, like creature ants.
Okay.
That would be a really weird thing for me to say. Ants
like a bunch of aunties in the sky. Oh my god, I can't. I'm so. Can we? I'll just move on.
Okay, let's move on. So, Sheila is very understanding here about this serial killer that she's hanging out with. You didn't have a choice. You didn't know what you were doing. And then Dusty says, that's the thing. I did. And who saw Mom convulsing and vomiting green smoke into Dusty coming?
I don't think I've seen anything coming.
That was unexpected. And so Dusty picks up the hammer and says, at last. Because I guess he's Grandpa now? I don't know.
Or what came before Grandpa.
Yeah.
He was like the Nazi peoples.
They're not Nazis in this one. They're just hourglass people.
He can give whatever kind of symbol he wants, but we know the story.
Yeah, that's true. We know better. So Sheila makes a very broad play here that she knows Dusty's still in there and wouldn't hurt her, even though Dusty did invite her over to hurt her. He stabs himself with the claw end of the hammer, which is something, and then gives it to Sheila. Gives it to Sheila with the hammer, but she can't do it. Gives it to Sheila with the hammer.
What is this? Are you saying a spell?
I'm reading my notes and it doesn't make any sense.
He just said it the same way. Gives it to Sheila with the hammer, and then he gives it to Sheila.
What does that mean? What happened there?
I think he gives her the thing, and he's like, swing hard, babe. You know, I don't think he says babe, but it had that vibe.
Yes, yeah. Okay, because she gives the hammer to Sheila, and wants Sheila to kill him. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's what the notes.
And that's
mean.
inner Dusty trying to break through Grandpa Nazi. Right. Yeah,
but Sheila can't do it, and now he's in an institution.
Well, she hit him. She just didn't hit him hard enough to kill him.
Yeah, well, she knocks him. Yeah, knocks him out. I mean, that's kind of dickish on Sheila's part. You know, she could have just killed him.
Maybe she tried, and she's just not strong enough.
She
was just like, I am going for death, and then like later they're like, oh yeah, he lived. She's like, oh fuck, like I couldn't even do that. Damn it.
So Dusty's in an institution now.
I did like his little ending because he still hears the voices and they're still inside him, and he's like, he was so polite. He's just like, please, can I have my music? And they turn on a little bit. He's like, a little louder, please. And I was just like, he's so polite in there to these people, and they're just like responding because he's being like, how nice. What a nice little setup now. Like,
yeah, exactly.
He doesn't have to kill people. But also it begs the question, my dear, could you not have just put on some fucking headphones to not murder all of your friends? Like, what? I don't understand. If music could have drowned out that voice, why weren't you just walking around with little earbuds in all the time?
Well, I mean, it was the 90s.
Well, you're a little Discman and take very careful steps so that it doesn't go skip.
It was the age before skip protection.
That was so annoying, dude. I remember that. I was just thinking about that the other day, and I remember seeing on TV because they're like, you can go for a jog with your CD, bring your music portable, and I was like, I'm going to be so healthy. Look at me with my headphones. First of all, the headphones fall off every step you take because they're so loose and flimsy. And then not only that, but you take like one step and it's like, and I'm just like, what? You're ruining my jams.
The worst ever.
I'll just stay really still and listen to my music and not like nod my head at all because that'll ruin it too.
So Kevin ends the story. That's the end. You may all go die now.
I don't know if it needed to last as many episodes. It did, considering that kind of payoff and no roaches.
It did not need to last that many episodes. Honestly, it should have been one episode. It should have been an anthology series. I have never been more confident of this fact. But Ilonka left them hanging with Witch. And if we were desperate to find out how that story would end, she has to finish it. And she starts with basically previously on Witch. We're back at the drugstore. The guy shoots Kevin in the throat. I don't like this story.
I liked it more as a book, I will say.
Oh, I did too. It was very different as a book too.
It was. They had like the witchy aunts were like chasing them, right? Like in a car.
Yeah, right. Yeah, in a station wagon, I think.
Yeah.
They talk about that the universe isn't moved by if only, and the future is just as set as the past. Imani puts the light on what was her name. It wasn't Ruth Codd because that's the actress. What?
Scotty?
Scotty. Right. Scotty. Yes, because she's Scottish. Right.
Because Scotty doesn't know.
Like exactly what I was thinking.
That's what I thought when I was reading that book when we were doing our podcast episode for it. And that's what I thought again, like watching the show. Don't tell Scotty. Scotty doesn't know.
So she puts this light on Scotty's chest and winds up in the woods with her mother, and sparkles are everywhere. And this is kind of a nicely shot scene. I liked it. I didn't like this, story, but the scene is nice. She says that you've taken a step out of life, and that Imani realizes she'll die if she heals Scotty. But Mom will be in the woods dancing with the fireflies. Aw. This just feels like just desperate to wrap up a story that you don't have time to wrap up. Doesn't it?
I think it suffers a little bit because they miss some of the key parts. Like the fact of finding out that she'll have to risk her life, that would be more important if you found out that the reason her mom risked her own life was because that other girl was her other daughter or some shit like that.
Oh, yeah, right. Absolutely. I forgot about that.
Yeah, exactly. Like there would have just been like little things that made it a little bit more powerful, so you'd know like how high the stakes are when she finally puts that thing over to Scotty and like gives the cord of life or whatever. Mm-hmm. I think the end of the book just feels a lot more powerful from that. Plus, like there is the part of that they changed Scotty a bit because Scotty was like in love with her in the book, and so It was like that bittersweet sort of like this is never going to happen, and now like we've always just been friends, but I do really love you, and I'm giving you life now, like I'm giving you my life. So I don't know, I just feel like it didn't hit quite as hard. Although I do really love Ruth Codd, and I'm not mad that they changed the character to have her be it. I feel like she should have been in love with her then, and then still had that little moment.
Yeah, totally.
About joking like how they were gonna like swim naked in Tahiti or whatever they said. I remember the weirdest shit from these books, I swear.
Well, some things stand out. No, yeah. I get that.
Yeah.
So Imani jumps in the water and wakes up with a tether between her and her dying body, the life cord. It's kind of fascinating, kind of weird, kind of David Cronenberg-y even, these life cords.
And Donnie Darko.
Oh yeah, okay, I could see that. So Imani gives her tether to Scotty and says, "Remember me." Oh. But Ilonka moved.
Were they just teasing us with that though? Like, was that?
They were, yeah.
It is, right?
It's just a like wink and a nudge.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Ilonka, so moved by her own story, is crying and can't finish the story.
Oh my God. Okay. Sorry, not to derail one thing though, really quick. That just reminded me because yesterday I saw this book review this lady wrote of her own book, and she was
dear
going
God.
on. She gave it 5 stars, her own book, and she was like, which you can do whatever you want to do, but her review is what killed me because her review was literally like, I have like I'm not really good at remembering things, so a lot of this book I didn't even remember that I wrote, and it moved me to tears. I can't believe this. I can't believe that I unleashed this into the world. I hope people love it. This is one of the best books I've ever read. I was cackling.
Holy shit.
I know. I'm gonna try to find it and send it to you guys after because it was so fucking funny, dude. It was like hilarious, and that literally just reminded me of that, like being so moved by your own bullshit that you're like crying. It's just so silly.
She really vibes with herself when.
Yes, it was so fun. Did you see it? You know what I'm talking about?
I have no idea.
Yeah, authors, give your book 5 stars. That's fine.
Yeah.
Never review it.
Not like a long review, like as if you're a normal reader. That's just
never
cringy and
review
weird.
it. Good God.
It's so funny.
So Cherie jumps in to finish the story, and and everybody seems to know that Scotty is played by Anya, which is interesting because they all play it as though Scotty is Anya, which is weird. Then Amesh takes over. There's a beautiful memorial, and he says also Luke and Becky are there. But Becky died. Well, it's not about them. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
The rest of the bullshit was actually worth it for that moment there. So they scatter Imani's ashes in the lake, and they see her there with the fireflies. Yeah. Okay. I don't know what my notes are saying here. Sometimes you don't get a shot at love in life. Imani continued because that's what people do. They go on. I don't know what I'm saying there.
You would be the only one that would, though. So if you don't, then neither do we. So we can just move on.
Do you remember what happened at the end of the story is what I'm asking you.
They're like her and Anya's character in the story of Scotty. They're having a conversation while they're sitting in the hospital, and it's like, and she's like, "It's okay to let go." Is that what scene you're talking about? Is that where
I don't know.
Oh.
Honestly, I have no idea.
I'm not ringing any bells.
No.
Oh.
Okay, let's just skip it. So Ilonka tells them about Rhett and the ballerina statue being fixed. And we pull back from the table. And that's the end of the Midnight Club there. Okay. Kevin asks Ilonka to walk with him. She feels like you were a little hard on your serial killer, Dusty. And Kevin says he always hurts the people he cares about.
Oh, goodness.
Like, he was still a serial killer. Let's not make him too dramatically pathos-filled, I guess. So he tells her that Catherine and he broke up. Dying is a really shitty reason not to live, they say. And they kiss. Aw. Stanton goes to lock the front door, sighs, and then goes to her bedroom. The newspaper article on the wall suggests the original owners were the old man and woman. Did you like that revelation?
I can't say I picked up on it.
Literally meant nothing to the whole story. Again, I guess next season it would have. But we have one last sting as Stanton takes her wig off, and there's an hourglass tattoo on her neck. Dun, dun, dun. And that is the Midnight Club. So let's talk about favorite moments and least favorite moments from the episode.
Oh. My favorite moment would be the cute little family day. And all the cuteness that was involved.
The mega happy day?
Yeah, it was sweet.
How about least favorite?
I guess that's the underwhelming beginning of this episode.
Okay. Okay. Cassie, how about you?
I think my best is when the mom crawls on the wall.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that was a good one.
Yeah, that was startling and surprising in a show that is often not startling or surprising.
There should have been more of that.
Yeah, there should have been.
We needed everyone crawling on
but
walls.
obviously you're disappointed that she wasn't a cockroach. So.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, because that would have been A+ for me. That would have been my best part in the whole series if she had crawled in like a cockroach, even if she had like a little bit of his ears still left in her lips. Like,
oh god,
you know, yeah, so good.
I get it. Yeah. What was your least favorite, or is it the cockroach bit?
No, I think this is difficult because I think my least favorite. Honestly, so the stories themselves, like in this one, weren't good for me, but also the one specifically where the people like ascended, that was just the ascension scene. I think was because it honestly, so many parts of this, even with the mom crawling, was funny, and it wasn't like in the book. It's not funny. It's really serious, and it's about like a really horrific evil. And I think maybe I get why they didn't go with Nazis, like topically and politically. Like I get that, although they were very clearly evil, so I think it could have been done, but it just it lost a lot of what made it so high stakes and so just so serious, like such a big evil, and I don't think it came across as well, and because of that, it just wasn't very entertaining, especially having to sit through so many episodes to string it all out. And I'm just like, this, not even a fucking roach, dude. Come on. Like all of those. And, so like, and then in particular, just that weird ascension scene, because it just felt like out of another thing. Like it did not feel like a Pike thing. It did not feel like anything. It didn't, it was like what's that one where the not Babadook, there's a movie in the attic and there's children.
Yes.
It's one of those. Yeah. It's not that one. That one has the red face.
Or not Insidious. I'm sorry.
Sinister. Yeah. So it gave me the.
Yeah, I always confuse those two also.
Yeah. So it gave me, because I think because the kids just all sitting there screaming. And so I liked it in the previous episodes because it was only creepy. But then when some of them started floating, I started laughing. And that's not the effect you want to have when people are getting their souls released. You don't want like, ha ha ha, this looks silly. Like, I just, I don't know. I don't know.
No, I agree. Whenever they add an ascension to heaven kind of thing, it's a lot for me, and I don't like that.
Mm.
Okay, let me see if I can figure out a favorite thing. I actually really like the quiet moments with Heather Langenkamp in this episode, because she's not overly showy, and sometimes when Heather gets overly showy, she's not as good. And so her quiet moments, her dramatic moments, the just seeing her internal thought process going, I think she's at her best in it. My least favorite, the fact that we had to catch up on these stories episodes later rather than just, have them in their own episode, I think, is my least favorite.
Because we could have had more stories that way if they had not made these ones drag out.
Yeah. And it's not like these stories deserved.
No, they don't seem to matter to anything. Like, maybe there's like some deep significance that I'm not picking up on that directly relates to what they're going through, or maybe it would have tied together a little bit more in the next one. But like, I don't know. It just. But
I don't see, like, if you look at I mean, I guess Ilonka's story is about death, and it is about giving emotionally of yourself to someone else, prioritizing other people over yourself. That's a nice emotional heft. But Kevin's story is about an evil serial killer who fights the urge to murder somebody and winds up in an institution.
Yeah. Like, I get his are because he feels bad about the things he's doing, and he does feel like he's like hurting people, so it's just like a more dramatic. But like hers, like, is all about sacrifice, and she's so fucking selfish in the real world outside of the story.
No, that's true. Yeah,
I get she's 16. I've been saying that the whole time we've been covering this, but like, she is so selfish, and for her story that lasts the entire season to be about sacrifice and selflessness and saving the people you care about at the cost of your own life, like. She's done everything against that. She's put people around her in danger repeatedly, multiple times, directly like going against what the people are telling her to do. And like, it just feels so, it just doesn't align with it. And it's like, it makes me dislike her, because how are you telling this kind of story while also acting in such a direct like opposition to the moral and to the basis of the story you're telling, while still thinking you're so righteous in real life?
And is so moved by her own story.
Right. That. And that, like, is this when she just realizes how much of a shithead she's been? And she's like, oh, okay, maybe I have been very selfish. Maybe this is like, no, like, she's just like, whoa, sniffing her own farts. I'm so good at stories. Haha. Like, I didn't like that either.
Yeah. And did she actually decide to go home? Or did she just say she was going to go home and then didn't go home?
I don't think she went home. I think she said she was going to home and then decided to stay. But I don't remember if she says that. Like, I don't specifically recall.
We didn't actually get that.
Maybe it's just because in the next season we would have opened up with her still in the house, and it would have been like, oh, okay.
It's like, oh, I guess she was staying. Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, here's how I think we should do this. We should rate the episode. We should rate the series. And then we should talk about the season 2 plans. How's that sound?
Sounds
okay.
Okay. So let's start with rating just this episode out of 5 pikes. Who wants to go first?
I can go first.
Okay. What do you got?
I give it 2.5 pikes with an invisible cockroach that never showed up. So instead of being a full 3, which that cockroach would have given it, it stays at 2.5.
Lobster.
Okay.
That's as convoluted as the fucking 2 little short stories in this felt from the beginning of the show to the end.
Becca, how about you?
Okay, I'm going to give it 2 spooky mammals walking on the wall.
Okay.
And a 0.5, which is Dusty freezing with a hammer.
Okay.
I thought you said 2 spooky mammals walking on the wall, and I realized after, but I was just like picturing it like, what kind of mammals? Like,
Another kind.
Yeah, no, fair.
Okay, I'm actually going to also give it 2.5. It's our only consistent episode, I think. And my 2.5 is spelled out in cursive by the lit up life tubes or tethers or whatever they were.
That's sweet.
2.5. Now, this is the harder one. How do you rate the series overall?
5 pikes.
And it doesn't have to feel like an average of what?
I'm sorry. I thought you had a small pause, and I thought I was supposed to answer, so I just screened my answer. But I'm just ignore me and keep going. I'm so sorry.
Okay. Oh, well, okay. So when we rate a series, it's very easy to look at it as a sum of the parts. And it should be like an average of the episode ratings, and I don't think that's quite the way to do it. I think we have to rate it on feeling as a whole, as we're coming out of this. How are we feeling about it? So this is a tough one, I know. Who wants to go first on it?
I'll go first.
Yeah.
Okay.
I give it 5 pikes, 500 pikes, 10 out of 10. Give me more pike, please. I'll give it 1,000,000 stars until they make more of it. At the end of this, I hated this episode, but I wanted more and I wanted to know what would happen. I was like, what other books are they going to do? Come on, I can't wait for season 2. So 10 10s all across the board.
You can't give 10s. We don't have 10s.
5 across the board. I'm throwing the pikes at the rating, and I'm throwing all the fish and the aquariums and the invisible cockroaches.
You know, looking up here, you did give the Immortal 5 1/4.
That sounds like me. What a stunning one. I remember because we were going through that one and I started defending it really hard as we were going, and I worked myself up into a tizzy. Yeah. I stand by that. I'm also throwing little statues at the rating for this one too, because I wish they had put the Immortal. Oh man, what a good adaptation. I know sick kids can't go on a trip or anything, so they wouldn't have been able to actually go, but the story could have gone. Oh, I'm so sad there's not going to be a season 2.
Well, okay. Becca, do you also give it 10s?
No.
I mean, can you even come close to matching Cassie's boundless enthusiasm?
Not at all. Not at all.
I mean, it's understandable. Totally fair.
I'm going to give it a 3.25 because
3.25.
Yes, because the ending in general was so underwhelming. Like, it wasn't a very good season finale, which I do think the second season would have been better once we get talking about that. Like, I feel like there was a lot of good stuff in that. I just feel like this is once again, the thing that pops out to me is like the episode where Anya is like seeing her life, you know, when she dies. And like she's walking down the street, like that still is like the main part that sticks out to me.
Yeah.
But in general, like, I don't know, like, I just feel like it's kind of forgettable, to be honest. And I don't think I would watch it again. But, I'm sorry, one more thing. I do want to add that the 0.25 is because I had such a good time talking to you guys.
I'm very, very similar to you on this, Becca. I am, like Cassie, absolutely thrilled that we got Christopher Pike content at all, because, you know, it's been 30 years since Christopher Pike was writing, and no, it hasn't been that long, but it's been a long time, and we never were getting content, and the best we ever got was that made-for-TV movie that nobody ever saw. So
I've seen it enough for everybody, just to be clear. I've seen that movie so many times.
So I mean, there's that, and then there's also the wonderful Anya episode.
So good,
because that was superb. There are a lot of really nice highlights in here, and by and large, a lot of really good acting from young people. And we get Heather Langenkamp again, and Heather Langenkamp, I love Heather Langenkamp. So, but at the same time, I don't know if I would rewatch this. And so that does come into play in my rating, and I'm sitting here and I don't know what I want to rate it. I think I'm just going to go with 3. It feels like a blah cop-out for whatever reason, but it was fine. And honestly, I think coming off of Haunting of Hill House and Haunting of Bly Manor and Midnight Mass and Dr. Sleep and Oculus, and I mean, I expect more from Mike Flanagan than fine. And that's not fair for the show, because it should not have to live up to his other work. And at the same time, then, I think about its adaptation of Christopher Pike. And what is Christopher Pike other than wildly inconsistent in quality, really wacky. And I mean, honestly, it feels like a perfect encapsulation of Christopher Pike's overall work.
Mm-hmm. It does. It's chaotic. It's wild. It has all the things that we like about it. Mostly, I will say the big book it focuses on was one that we did not like because it didn't have as much of those things in it. Like there wasn't a ton of like sex or drugs or like, you know, it was sad about kids dying. And I will say, given that the whole thing was themed and based around that one thing, he did so much with that. Like he made the base show and the mystery and the intrigue around it so much more interesting than the Midnight Club book was for me.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes, absolutely. I think the biggest problem I'm having with this is when I'm watching a show and thinking about how it could be done better. That is a problem. No matter why I'm thinking about how it could be done better, it's still a problem. And I realize it's only a problem because I am a Christopher Pike fan. And I'm sure a lot of people who watch this who didn't read all the books didn't feel the same way. They may have just enjoyed it for what it is. Meanwhile, I'm over here thinking only about what it isn't. And what it isn't is a faithful adaptation of literally any of the books. Which kind of sucks. But I'm going to give it 3. That's where I'm at. What do you have overall thoughts, ladies?
I like Amesh and Anya the absolute most. They were like
100%.
Yeah, they were so good. Like anytime either one of them was their characters were like the focal point, I was immediately invested for different reasons too, which I think is really interesting because she was so like she was rough and like brash, but like very relatable and understandable. And you could tell that she had like depth, which isn't, you can just come off like a bitch, you know, like you could just be a bitch. And she didn't do that. Like you could tell there was more to her than just how she was portraying herself, which that takes skill, like as an actor to do that. So that's like, it's wild that she was able to do that. Cause I wasn't this like her first job, like outside of TikTok or something? Like that's bananas. There are like people that we see who have been in movies and have done this for years that don't do it as well as she did. So props to her. And Amesh, like, I'm not going to say it blew me away in the same way, but he had his own thing and that I can definitely see him being in several other movies, like moving on. I will say that, although they weren't faithful adaptations or as much as I would like to see, I do think that it was with a love of the source material that this was made. Like you can tell that the choices that were made with the episodes, it wasn't done in a way that's like, I think Christopher Pike did this poorly, so I'm going to do it better. It was like, how can I translate how this felt and how this meant to me while I was reading it into something that would be good for viewers who maybe don't have any experience with that.
Right.
So I kind of like that too, but as somebody with a lot of experience with that, I could point out where the issues were that I found. And so that was a little bit distracting. I almost kind of wish that I could go into this not having read all the books first, and then that way it would be like a brand new thing.
Yeah. That would have been, yeah. Would you have stayed with it?
I don't know. That's for true. Like I genuinely don't know. Cause I do think a large part of why I stuck with it and why I like it so much, even the issues I have, is because of what it's based on and how much love I have for that. Like Christopher Pike has been such a big part in like those books of my life since I was literally like 10 years old. That's over 20 years now. Like that's most of my life. Like I and just the fact that it's been made into a show on something like Netflix, like how, like that's just why that's so big. And to see that, like, it's still so exciting to think about. And I don't know. I think props to everybody that was involved for it, because they gave me something I wanted. Maybe it wasn't perfectly done in a way that I would have wanted it, but I'm still glad that it exists and that I can watch it. And I do feel differently from you two in that I've seen the show now like 3 times, so I would watch it again just because it's now, to me, it feels like one of the Pike books that I don't particularly super love, but it's still a Pike book that I would read, just for like pikiness. And because I know what this is based on, I think, I don't know, I just have like a fondness for it now. Somebody else talk. God, I'm just talking. It's just me the whole time. Becca, please save me.
Oh, I was letting you have your moment of opinion.
I had too much moment.
Oh. Overall,
Becca, do you have any last thoughts on the series?
Like, the show was, honestly, it was fine. There was nothing wrong with it. I had, like, and I don't have the experience with Pike like you guys do. Like, the ones I've read was with you guys through the show. So I don't have an attachment, so I think that's why I'm kind of like, it's just like a show. It was fine. There were good parts. There were clearly good parts. I don't know. I don't really, like, I feel like I wanted more of certain characters. Like, I really wanted more Sherry. Because I really did like her a lot. And I wish we could have got deeper.
Yeah, she's just sort of an enigma at this point.
Yeah. I loved her. So, I wish we could have had, like, maybe not a whole episode dedicated to her, but just have more of something. Like, did she even tell a story? I don't think she did.
I feel like she did, but I can't now remember.
I don't know.
Or maybe did she just keep saying she wasn't going to tell a story?
Maybe.
Interesting.
I wish we would have definitely had more. And I did like Spencer. This queer storyline.
The member who never tells a story is Shuri.
I wish she would have broke that rule just one time for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, in the end, it's just a show. I watched it. I didn't hate it, but I didn't it wasn't something that I am obsessed with.
Yeah.
You didn't leave feeling like extremely emotionally impacted, that it's like lodged in your brain now.
Exactly.
Yeah. Which some of Mike Flanagan's other shows, I haven't seen them all personally, but I've seen like one or two of them, and I felt like a little bit more emotionally impacted by those.
Yeah.
I mean, not even a little bit, a lot more. I'm pretty sure Bly Manor, I think was it. That one made me like cry.
That was my fave.
Yeah, that one was. I've seen that one, and I've seen Hill House, and I haven't seen the other things, but I've heard they're really good. It's just my attention span sucks. So
mine too.
Yeah, but those two, because I can fucking get down with some ghosts no matter my attention span. So and even the first one, Hill House, it was still emotional and like the family and stuff. I do wish that this had that strong emotional character, but I do think maybe that had to be sacrificed in order to give a spotlight to the stories they were trying to tell or adapt.
Right. Well, let's talk a little bit about the season 2 that won't happen.
That's sad.
It is so freaking sad. I'm very sad.
And what's really interesting, as I was reading this blog post that Flanagan wrote, and we'll link it in the show notes, is that all the things that seem sinister, like the shadow and the old man and old woman, actually turn out to be tragic or have deep backstories that aren't sinister, and that's interesting. The things that interest me most about this planned second season, first of all, Robert Longstreet, who I made a big deal out of when he would show up as the janitor who cleans the rooms after the people die. It turns out he's deaf.
Yeah.
He's not real.
Only the teens see him, like the dying teens. Yeah.
Which is cool. Makes me wish we had a little bit more with him in this season, and even somewhat hints of it, It's very interesting. But the other thing Flanagan really wanted to do was do a long adaptation of Remember Me with Ruth Codd in the lead. Oh,
that would have been so good. That would have been so good.
Yeah, I mean, he says we would have stretched this story out over 5 episodes.
Damn.
And it deserved, there's so much stuff that I feel, and maybe they wouldn't have even just done the first book. Like, they would have tried to put stuff from the other books, which I know
I imagine it would have just been a remix of the whole. Yeah.
It would have been fun to pick and see, which things we remember and which things are new.
Yeah. Well, that is a huge bummer that we wouldn't have that. And those who've read Remember Me know that the shadow is a recurring thing in Remember Me, and that it's not death, it's not a monster, it's you, right?
Yeah. Well, sorry, I didn't realize you were asking. No, yeah. The shadow is the people. Like, it's the unknown.
Right.
It's just like them. Like, that's why. And when Anya was looking up at the sky, do you remember when the baby turned into like an old woman?
Mm-hmm.
That was her. Like, and remember when I was watching it too, I was like, yeah, that's what I thought was that it was her life. Like, before I even read that that's what it was supposed to be. And I was like, that's so cool that they actually pulled it off to make it seem like that. Like, it was sinister and scary, but there was something else to it too that wasn't.
Right.
There was something about like her life there. So I'm so sad there's no season 2. There's so much here that would have been better. I feel like season 2 would have been a lot better than season 1.
Yeah. Which is telling, because that emphasizes the fact that the mystery they were giving us in season 1 was not as compelling as it should have been.
No, and that's fair, but I also think that's like that. I think if they made the case for example, shows used to be like 20 something episodes long, so you would be able to fit all of this into a season. So like, I imagine writing it, like, you still, although things have changed and how quickly we watch stuff now, writing it probably feels a little bit differently, especially when you're trying to fit this much stuff into it.
No, that's very true. Yeah. There's the idea that Cherie may be telling the story of Monster.
I'm reading that note right now, and I'm so sad.
I know. Oh my God. I was literally, when I looked up that Cherie was the only one, I was like, wait, isn't she the one that was supposed to? And I went back to the note and I was like, oh no, Becca's not going to like this.
I'm so sad.
Favorite character, favorite book. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I would have got the blood and guts on the wall.
Yes. Yes, we would have gotten the necklace, the explosion, plastic, the dog.
Do you think they would have actually done the school shooting, though?
They could have switched it, but still put blood and guts on the wall.
Yeah, they could have switched it a little bit to make it
kind of like with the Nazis.
Yeah, even if they switched that, so it was like, oh, like they were on a football field and they just started getting extremely more violent while they were playing and like really hurt each other or something. Like, they could have shown the way that they were still changing because of the water from the meteor. And like, oh, I fucking love that book, dude. I wish we could go back and cover that one again. It was so good.
I mean, there's no reason we can't.
I'm gonna have to read that one soon. Like, that's such a good book. I can't. They should have started with that one in this season.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, you know, like, giving us like Remember Me is a wonderful story about death, and they really could have done something very interesting using that in the first season.
Yeah.
Spence would have gotten advanced HIV treatment that showed up in the late 90s, which feels a little desperate to save a character, because I don't think random kid at a hospice would be getting the advanced HIV cocktail, just sadly.
Do you think though that they were trying to maybe just avoid the trope of...
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. It would feel unearned, which is a weird thing to say, but it would feel like, oh, we're giving him the mega happy ending just because. I don't know. And then the revelations about Dr. Stanton being the daughter of Aceso. So the daughter is the one who wrote the book. And I felt like she has what?
No. I just, as a reveal, I feel like that was very, like, was that not clear in the show? Like,
I didn't catch up.
It wasn't clear enough, I don't think.
Okay, that's fair then. Sorry, because when I watched it, I thought that was like canon. Like, I was paused. I didn't even have a question about that. And then when I read this, how they're like, and then it was going to be revealed, and I was like, whoa, was that not revealed? Like, and then when I rewatched it again, I realized they did not specifically say it, but
no,
they do have like little hints and stuff. So I think maybe because I've seen it a couple times now that, I don't know, my brain's probably just like, no, definitely this, you know, but I thought that was like a more, like, where else would she have come from? Like, why was she else in this place, like tied to this stuff and
Sure.
knew about it and stuff? If not, like, where did the daughter go then? Like, why is the daughter the only one who hasn't been mentioned? Like, it seemed like logical to me, I think.
I think it would have been more obvious if Stanton and Shasta had actually squared off at all in the entire show.
Or if she had like made a comment like, yeah, your mother said you were a disappointment or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, those two going toe to toe would have actually been a valuable plot point.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, they're both just going through Ilonka.
Yeah.
The reason she's wearing a wig is that she is undergoing chemo because she has cancer. And it would go into remission. So also a little mega happy.
But I think that specifically goes to show, though, like, she intentionally chose to denounce what her mother was doing and trying to cheat death. And she, not saying like she's being rewarded, but it kind of seems like she is being rewarded for that by that. Whereas these other people who are trying to kill everybody else, like Julia James, her cancer came back.
Right.
So I did think that was like, it was a very hard, like, blunt metaphor, I think, or like, you know, but I did appreciate that it was a thing.
Then there's the weirdest revelation. The two original owners of the house were the old man and old woman. And Ilonka, in her past life, was the old man.
Mm-hmm.
And Kevin, in his past life, was the old woman.
Which sounds silly, but it does make sense to how it was filmed. Like, if we go back to all those scenes, it does fit why they were seeing what they were seeing in the order. But it is an interesting choice to flop them that way.
Yeah. I don't know that I mean, obviously we're only getting a Cliff's Notes, you know, like napkin ideas listing of what would have been happening. But so I can't really judge it. So
that's just though.
Yeah.
Like the time travel and past lives and soulmates. What was the one where the girl the Lost Mind? Do you remember that one where the three souls? That feels very like, that's such a Pike thing, you know? And it feels like he was trying to go maybe into that direction with the metaphysical stuff, which this one felt like very Ghost. Maybe the next season, because of Remember Me, would have been very focused on the more weird, esoteric type of like strange, new agey things that Pike has going on in some of his other books, which I think would have been cool. Maybe we would have gotten Starlight Crystal with some sci-fi reptiles and vampires in space. I'm so sad. It's all I want is the roaches on the wall and the vampires in space.
Yeah. You really want them to lead into weird Pike.
I do. You have no idea.
I do too. I wanted to see Helter Skelter take a walk. Honestly, that's all I've ever wanted.
They didn't do Whisper of Death at all, right?
Nope, not at all.
No,
not even
no
a reference.
Fetus. Damn,
nope.
We had so much to look forward to.
I mean, Whisper of Death isn't even mentioned on this season 2 plan, which I find preposterous.
Neither is Immortal, though. And come on, who doesn't want to go to Greece and drink or eat a burger with broken glass? With
ground glass in it, yeah.
Iconic.
It is. So, I mean, the season 2 notes are interesting. I definitely would have watched it, whether I was doing a podcast about it or not, because, I mean, it's more Pike content, and that would have been great.
Sorry, so one quick thing, too, that I did think, because he does go a little bit into depth about the two old people, and I thought this was really sweet, was because the old guy built the house for the woman, and then she got really just bananas and started, like, going dementia, and, like, she's just had really bad mental time. So she would, like, wander the halls, like, looking for him, which is why she would see, like, when you're in Ilonka's head, you see the old woman saying, like, darling, and I'm starving, which is so fucking creepy, but then you think about it, it's just, like, that's his old wife, like, just hungry or like, you know, looking for him, and she doesn't know what's going on and she's lost in her mind. It's just so sad. And like, and then so she refused to leave the basement, and that's why the stuff was taking place in the basement, and all the things on the floor and the walls, like he painted the walls to look like the wood, so it was like she was still outside, and then the ceiling to look like the sky, and then the floor in that pattern so she could walk it, which was supposed to help with her memory and her dementia. Like, so many little things that are just so like sad and sweet that I really feel like should have been a part of this first season. Like,
yeah,
if they had revealed that.
That's the problem with setting up too many things for another season without revealing any answers, is you're never guaranteed another season.
No. And it would have been a good
set up
ending.
A few things for future, obviously, but don't put the bulk of your mythology in desperate hope of a second season.
No, or even just like the bulk of where the emotion could come from. Like it felt like this was like, it felt like this was a season, and there should still be like 4 episodes left that are really going to hit us super hard. Like that's what it felt like ending this season.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that sort of wraps us up. Do either of you two have any last thoughts on the Midnight Club?
Not me, no.
I don't.
Okay.
I think you have to say the thing, though. You have to do this. You have to say the to those before and to those after. You have to say the whole thing at the end of the episode because we're finishing it. It's only right.
I'll get the script.
Do it in your good voice too, like your presenting voice, like your serious, somber, these are dead teens voice. Not Batman though.
Okay, I got not Batman. You don't want my Batman voice?
No, not the Batman voice.
Okay. Well, before we do that, Cassie, where can they find you online?
You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at ControlAltCassie. You can also find my new shop stuff, which is moved. I still have my Etsy, but it's only for digital item now. So if you want physical stuff, which I'm going to be doing a new collection drop quarterly, the current one is the Spooky Valentine's collection, and it is at ControlAltCassie.com/shop. And I also started a YouTube channel for books. So if you want to follow me there or subscribe to my channel or whatever, it's youtube.com/@, and then ControlAltCassie. And that should work. Okay, thank you. Yay.
How about you, Becca?
Yes.
Where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter and TikTok and my personal Instagram at As Told by Bex. My bookstagram can be found at Read with Bex. And I have a shop that I run with my sister where we do book sleeves and soon-to-be tote bags, which is Leaping Lily Creations on Etsy.
You can find me at Cooper S. Beckett on all of the things, because I keep it easy.
That is simple. So simple and smart.
All of the things. Cassie, where can they find the PikeCast online?
You can find us on all social media at the PikeCast, and we'd really love it if you tag us and use the hashtag #ShowUsYourPike to show us your Pike books and your Pike collection. You can also tag us if you want to share your thoughts on the show or anything else related to Pike. You can also join our Patreon at patreon.com/thepikecast, and by doing that, you'll get early access to our episodes, access to our special Discord channel, and little fun merchandise like bookmarks, stickers, and stuff like that.
So as the ladies requested, I'm going to do the Midnight Club oath, or what would you call that?
Like I don't know.
Creed?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know.
To those before, to those after, to us now, and to those beyond, seen or unseen, here but not here.
Woo! Well, it was spooky.
It was, yeah. So until next time, Pikers, pleasant dreams. You all are weird.
You all are weird.
That's true.
You survived the night, friends. You can peek out from under your covers and see the first blues of dawn out the window. Thanks for spending the night with the PikeCast, and we hope you'll join us again next time. Until then, Pikers, pleasant dreams.
Very
Becca,
underwhelming.
you're moving your microphone around a lot.
It went to fall down, and I had to catch it.
She's doing some cool swift maneuvers. And she's like, Becca, stay still.
Come on. Okay.
I decided to take a leap of faith.
Yeah.
I think it's doing okay now, I hope.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm a mess.
It's okay.
Poor Becca. She's just trying to save her little microphone. And Cooper's just immediately, Becca, stop it.
Right.
I just picture her holding it in her hand, just freezing. She's like, I'm sorry.
I don't know what to do.
She's like, can you please put my hands down?
Oh, you guys are silly.
It's true. It's true.
Lots of
So he's been in a low. What is that? Low played. It's not low played.
I don't know.
Underplayed, maybe. I don't know. I'm not.
If
sure
you don't know, I don't know.
I have no idea what I was trying to say. Let's move on.